Hi, good evening, I guess. Um, Somebody asked me to make a video on this, so I decided to make one and kind of uploading this unedited. So, well, maybe just some cuts if like I take a long time to speak, but this is like the full shebang unedited. So, somebody asked me to make a video on the topic that I made a video about early this morning. So it's on fast fashion. So what is fast fashion? Fast fashion is a business model wherein big production houses creates um, clothes copying catwalk designs or independent designers, anything that's probably popular, and then putting them on mass production scales and having lower price tags. So everything is mass produced, everything is at a lower price tag. The things that are used in this fast fashion industries are the substandards than those of the original designs of those clothes. So why is it something talked about now? So fast fashion is something new in our history. So it started after um, the industrialization of England, wherein newer clothes could be produced in bigger quantities. And jump forward 20 years from now, we have China, Bangladesh, India, who have huge textile industries, which which creates more than 10,000 clothes in just one factory, and multiply that by 1,000 factories all throughout those countries, and this creates a um, huge production of clothes, and that's something that would cater the demands of micro fashion. Or how do you put it? So, what is micro fashion? Micro fashion is defined as something that trends of things in shorter lengths, unlike in previous times that we have longer lengths, and different sources of fashion plates were just television, um, movies, you have magazines, which were produced in a slower rate compared to now, where we have influencers. So this story of the influencers, they created this micro trends phenomenon wherein one week this is on brand and the next week it's not. So it creates this demand for this certain type of clothes wherein you'll see it everywhere, because the Chinese companies would create that specific wear, and then it would be drop shipped everywhere, and it would create um, it would be drop shipped everywhere, and then it would create an overproduction of that specific clothes. However, that specific clothes would only be in trend for a couple of weeks, if I may say, and then it's out of trend. So there was an overproduction of that specific clothes, that specific design, that the market would not even buy. And all those creations that has been already produced and manufactured would now be staying in landfills. And all those teens, or those who follow these micro trends, also throw away their own goods because it's not in trend anymore. It's not something new. It's not something fresh. So if they want to be popular, if they want to be known, it's something that they don't want others to see them, because there's a culture here in the internet that doesn't allow people to rewear things, even though they do, even though people do that every day. So now compensate for everything that happened in just the past 10 years, 15 years. Fast fashion is just the past 15 to 20 years. Now there's this movement of thrifting or buying secondhand clothes, and then this movement of buying in secondhand clothes is said to be something that will help the clothing industry be more sustainable, and it's an individual act that one could do. So this morning, that's the whole background of the video I did this morning. So the point of my video this morning was that in the Philippines, it's not the same concept. It doesn't work that way, because here we have the notion that things should last. Things should be used until its last use. So everything should be utilitarian, everything should be used properly before it should be thrown away. And in this case, we don't really subscribe in the fast fashion, because even though the Philippines has our 1%, our 1% is not part of the global 1%. So the Philippines is mostly lower class and lower middle class. So much of our disposable incomes, which goes to buying cheap clothes or in fast fashion brands, aren't something that would be thrown away or be something that would be something overly trendy that we change every week. That's not a reality that exists here in our country. That is what my point is earlier. It's not a reality that exists in the Philippines. Of course, you as a person have the need and the responsibility to buy secondhand clothing, to try to lessen your overconsumption of clothes, trying to be mindful of what you buy. But it's not something us, even as a nation, have a big problem of. We don't discard our clothes when the season ends, because we don't have seasons here in the Philippines. We don't have the reality, the northern fashion industry, this includes China, Japan, South Korea, the Europes, and the Americans. We don't have their fashion industry. We don't have their seasons. So even if we emulate what is trendy there, it's not something that would translate directly into our culture and our society, because we don't throw clothes as often as them. So in as much as shaming people for buying cheap clothes from drop shipping sites, it's not something that everyone should be shamed of. Those who should be shamed of are those people who can afford to buy things at their actual price, from buying from the artists that worked for them, that designed them, that put a lot of effort in. It's okay to buy from them, because we're still living in capitalism and we have to subscribe to capitalism, because that's what exists right now. So I'm not saying not to buy. I'm saying that these things that we try to emulate from the West, like saying that buying fast fashion is bad, of course it's bad, but it's not our individual fault or even our nation's fault. It's a fault of the companies that tries to sell it for a buck and then get high margins of sales. It's their fault. It should be their responsibility. Our responsibility is to show them that we will not cater to that overproduction. Whatever they do, they won't get high margins of sales because we can't afford doing that. It's the richer countries that do that. I mean, I don't know if my point is getting across, but that was the point of my video earlier. It's not that it's not us. It's not that shaming people for buying fast fashion is bad. So the final note I just wanted to say was that even though we exist in this collective whole of the human kind, we also have to contextualize things and issues that exist in the West. It does not exactly translate here in the Philippines, and we should be careful in being wokes and like policing other people, because it's not something that always exists. It's not every issue that the US have does not always translate to us. It's not something like that. We have our own issues. We should talk about our own issues and not theirs. So I guess that's just the point of this whole 10-minute video, because somebody was asking me questions about the video I did early this morning, and I just want to clarify things. That's it. Bye.